Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, Dzkan Toys, where I share my opinion and review some of my favorite toy releases. Make sure you guys support the channel by liking and subscribing, and stay to the end of the video to check out some cool pictures that I will be taking with the figure. Now today we have a new figure to review, which is the Dragon Ball S.H.Figuarts series Tao Pai Pai. In terms of box art, Tao Pai Pai comes with your typical S.H.Figuarts box art release with a window in the front and box art all around. Now let's get this figure unboxed and see what it's all about. Alright, now we have Tao Pai Pai unboxed. Here we have a front view, side view, and back view. In terms of accessories, the Dragon Ball S.H.Figuarts Tao Pai Pai is definitely a breath of fresh air. It comes with a lot of cool accessories. Let's check them out. So in terms of accessories, Tao Pai Pai comes with 5 extra set of hands besides the 2 closing fists attached to the figure itself. We have 2 double finger pointing hands, 2 open palms, and 1 single finger pointing hand. In terms of face, we have 2 extra set of faceplate, one with a screaming face and one with his signature assassination tongue sticking out face. This is really cool that they included this face as well. Now let's take a closer look at this because I really enjoyed this face sculpt. There we go. We also have 2 sets of extra Kung Fu apron pieces. These are swappable onto the figure itself and they represent a more dynamic version of Tao Pai Pai. So you can pose your figure like he is fighting or flying around, jumping around. Just like all the original Dragon Ball character releases, this Tao Pai Pai includes one of the 7 Dragon Balls, and this one is the 7-star Dragon Ball. Yet we're still not done with the accessories. Now we can see we have this piece, a pink log looking like piece, and these effect pieces. So these can all attach together to a stand, which I will show you guys in a moment. And this, for many of you guys who watch the original Dragon Ball or read the original Dragon Ball manga, you guys would know there's an iconic scene of Tao Pai Pai, the assassin, kicking the building pillar, breaking it apart, and riding it like a vehicle. So this is supposed to represent that, the pillar that he broke. Now let's assemble them and check it out. Alright, now we have this thing assembled. It's definitely one of my favorite accessories that S.H.Figuarts Dragon Ball released so far. This is the side view, back view, front view. Another cool accessory included in this Tao Pai Pai is 2 almost Gunpla model kit looking like runner pieces. As we can see here, one in a white color and one in a pinkish color. So in my recent memory, I don't remember any S.H.Figuarts Dragon Ball releases that included runners like this, so it's definitely a cool sight to see. So what these are actually for the log accessory, the stone pillar. So you can cut these pink ones out and then also attach to these holes that you see here when you're not using these holes. And these holes are actually for Tao Pai Pai to stand on. We see the white piece over here, we have these attachments over here. Again, what we can do is take off the piece on Tao Pai Pai's feet, attach them with the new ones with a peg, and then you can pose Tao Pai Pai on this flying stone pillar by attaching his feet onto these holes. And for the holes that you're not using, you can hide them by plugging in these pink pieces. So that's definitely a very cool idea, and I'm really glad that Bandai included these in this release. In terms of articulation, Tao Pai Pai does pretty well, and he can almost do any action pose you want him to do, as he uses the typical 2.0 S.H.Figuarts Dragon Ball release body that we've been so familiar with. Although articulation can be hindered a bit in the leg due to the front apron over here, but maybe that can be solved after we attach the extra dynamic Kung Fu apron pieces. As we see here, there are 4 attachment points, so we just pull the Kung Fu apron off very easily. Then we take the dynamic pieces and attach them. Just like that, and then we attach the upper piece. Alright, there we go. We have done attaching the apron pieces. So it definitely helps much more with the leg articulation, as it's no longer being blocked by the front Kung Fu apron, and it makes the figure look much more dynamic, like he is jumping around or fighting Master Yoshi or Goku. I also really like the fact that it included the print over here at the back of Tao Pai Pai's body, his signature, "Kill You." As we know, he is supposed to be the world's #1 assassin in the original Dragon Ball series. Also, I forgot to mention, in terms of articulation, his hairpiece ponytail also rotates. So you can definitely get him in some dynamic poses. In terms of something unique, we can also pull the bottom of Tao Pai Pai's feet out, as then we can use a new attachment with the pegs to peg on the stone pillar. Just pull them out like this, and we can see you can attach these pieces over here. And what's unique about it is they give us extra pieces of each side of the feet. One is a more slanted version and one is a more flat version. So if you want him to stand on the stone pillar with a more flat feet position, then you'll use the flat one. And if you want him to stand more with an angled feet position, you can use the more slanted version of the bottom attachment. So let's attach them. After attaching them, they look something like this. And it was really helpful, as the pieces that I cut out from the runners, it also said either R or L, representing right or left, to guide you when you put on these pieces. This is Tao Pai Pai standing on the stone pillar and flying around. As we can see, the feet over here is in a more angled position at the ankle part, and due to this slant, that's why we use the more slanted attachment. We can also swap off these for more flattened bottom attachment in order to pose Tao Pai Pai differently. I can show you guys that as well right now. As you guys can see, now that I switched the feet attachment for Tao Pai Pai to the more flat attachment, I can pose him like this, so he can stand along the more flattened surface. So definitely big props for them to include both options, and it is up to us collectors to choose what we want to do. I really like this pose. I think I'll keep him in this pose in my shelf. Now that you have Tao Pai Pai in a pose that you want, standing on the stone pillar, what you can do is now use the pink pieces that we showed earlier to plug these little holes here. So after you cut them out from the runners, you can also plug them in. Okay, now that I plugged them in here to show you guys, originally there are 2 holes here and also on the other side as well. So then you can plug those pieces in to hide these holes. But something I gotta mention is, when I was plugging them in, I was just thinking, they must be a pain to get out. So make sure you pose Tao Pai Pai how you want on this pillar first, and then plug the holes in afterwards, or you're gonna have a hard time taking these small pieces out again. Alright, so final thoughts on the figure. Tao Pai Pai is another great release in the S.H.Figuarts Dragonball series. What really surprised me about this release is how jam-packed with accessory it is. We have great looking Kung Fu hands, great looking facial expressions, including my favorite, his tongue sticking out face that represents his signature assassination move. We also have swappable Kung Fu apron skirt pieces to represent Tao Pai Pai in a more dynamic pose. And last of all, they could have not included this, but they did, so thank our Bandai Tamashii overlords there for including this log piece. This log piece represents Tao Pai Pai's debut in the original Dragon Ball, when he kicked the stone pillar right off the building and used it as a flying vehicle to fly around. Now that's definitely badass and worthy of the world's #1 assassin. So all in all, if you're a fan of the original Dragon Ball series, definitely consider picking this guy up. I know many of you guys are more fans of Dragon Ball Z series and not familiar with the character Tao Pai Pai. If that's the case, then maybe you can skip on this release. But if you're an avid S.H.Figuarts Dragon Ball collector, definitely consider picking this guy up, because he's a very unique release with many cool accessories, and he'll definitely look different than many of the other figures released in the line so far and have great shelf presence, especially if you pose him just like how we see him right now, standing and flying in the air with his signature stone pillar. As always, thank you guys for watching, and stay young at heart. Make sure you guys support the channel by liking and subscribing, and we're out.